Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Erno van der Weert. I work for the European Commission, and today we will present to you some of the features of the European Defense Fund.
So, welcome. This is a third session. We are organizing, or what we have done in Eurosatory. Tomorrow will be another one, but today we will focus on cyber and disruptive technologies.
So let me start with introducing to you what the European Defence Fund is about. It's one of the new funding programs which was launched in 2021 to fund industrial research and development in the context of defense. And the main feature, and I'm now looking to the graph here on the right side, is that it encompasses both research and development in one single program. So the total budget of 8 billion euro is divided in a research part, which is about 1/3 of the total budget, 2.7 billion, to fund 100% by EU budget research projects by industrial entities. Then we move over to the development part. The development part is 5.3 billion euro of EU budget, but it also includes co-financing by the member states. So that means that we are able to fund quite large projects into prototyping, into testing, by combining money from the European Union with money coming from the member states. That should lead then, in the end, to further development at the level of the member states and to joint procurement. But for the time being, that's something which does not fit yet in the context of the European Defence Fund. So the financial support comes mainly under the form of grants. So some of you are maybe used to the civil funding programs like Horizon 2020, Horizon Europe. We follow a little bit the same approach, except that our program is open to only legal entities which are established in EU member states or in Norway being an associated country. However, we can allow entities which are controlled by third countries or by entities established in third countries if a number of security considerations are met. So it is possible for them to participate. So what are the objectives which we want to achieve here? First, basically what we want to do is to support collaborative and cross-border research and development actions, and also having a focus on promoting disruptive technologies. There we want to contribute with the European Defence Fund to competitiveness and innovation capacity of the European industrial base. We want to encourage the participation of SMEs and other actors which are actually usually not into the defense R&D, so we want to open up to include such new actors into the field. What we want to do is to help the reduction of fragmentation. As you know, the European defense landscape is quite fragmented across the different countries and geographically, but also across the industrial landscape. We want to build partnerships between defense actors and also on both demand and supply chains. So we want to promote cooperation also between European countries, between the ministries of defense, but also with the different industrial actors. And this would need to lead to an optimization of the defense spending over across the European Union. And then the lead to close defense technological gaps that we want to close, gaps which exist within Europe, but also with our global partners in the world. And of course, it should support the strengthening of the security and defense initiatives which are taken all over Europe. And finally, also strengthen the resilience and promote the European strategic autonomy.
So EDF is an enabler in a larger ecosystem. So we have annual work programs, and while we are setting those annual work programs up together with the member states, so we are taking into consideration also different other defense initiatives, such as common capability development plan, CART, also PESCO, and also we are trying to ensure synergies with other European programs, such as also Horizon or other civilian programs, because avoiding unnecessary duplication is crucial thing for us. To support member states' joint actions in the defense and what member states are doing under the PESCO framework. Therefore, we have also a PESCO bonus, but it's something Erno will explain a bit afterwards. And of course, we try to ensure also coherence with regional capability needs, therefore taking into consideration as well NATO capability priorities if it's important for the member states. And we have this year launched published actually a multi-annual perspective, so you can take a look on the DG DEFIS webpage where you find it, and you can see what are the strategic objectives for the future, so within what we want to achieve within 7 years. And there you can also see what are the priorities for the member states and Norway as only associated country. About the EDF life cycle, as I mentioned, we have annual work programs and calls for proposals. So every year we launch calls for proposals, and every year before that we adopt annual work program. As I mentioned, we have published this year also indicative multi-annual perspective, which helps also industrial entities to plan their strategic needs and R&D ideas. So member states are strongly involved to the EDF preparation and implementation. We have EDF program committee, so those who are familiar with Horizon Europe, so it's something similar what we have for defense R&D program, so to the for the EDF. And member states are participating in EDF program committee, so they validate annual work program, they adopt it, and also after the Commission has launched the evaluation together with independent experts, we also ask member states' positive opinion, and then for the selected projects, and after that, basically the projects can start. So the time frame or the planning is that right now we are already negotiating with the member states EDF 23 work program. So for the 22 work program, which is now open and calls for proposals submission starts from 21st of June until 24th of November. But yes, 2022 work program we discussed with member states last year. Then we adopted it in May. So approximately 5 months, all the industrial entities, RTOs, universities have time to prepare your proposal. Then you have to submit it. And after submission deadline, the Commission will conduct evaluation. So first of all, we will check eligibility. We will check if all the documents and all the requirements what are needed are there. And then We also include independent experts who are helping us to evaluate all the proposals we have received. We have, of course, award criteria, and after that we will have a list of selected projects, and then we will basically adopt the award decision, and after that grant agreement preparation starts. So basically when it takes approximately half a year or 6 months to evaluate all the proposals we have received, and after that we have around 3 months to negotiate grant agreement. So altogether, from the opening of the calls of proposals, it takes approximately a year to get the results.
Okay, let me run a little bit over the conditions to be eligible as a consortium to join the European Defense Fund calls. First, you have to build consortia which consist of at least 3 entities from 3 different member states or Norway. Recipients and main subcontractors, as also the infrastructure, the facilities, the assets and the resources which are used for the action, they should be located in the European Union or in Norway. Now, it is possible to include entities which are outside the European Union or Norway if a number of security-specific conditions are met. But in these cases, these entities cannot receive EU funding, so they will have to come with their own financial means. Thirdly, the recipients and the main subcontractors should not be subject to control by third countries or by entities established in third countries. Also there, a derogation is possible. Derogation is possible if the country, so if the government of the country in which the controlled entity is established can provide a guarantee. And the same applies for the outcome and the results. There should not be control or restrictions imposed by third country or third country entities. And then, of course, also here we need to stress that the activities which you propose in your proposal should be compliant with international law and have high ethical standards. When it comes to development actions, then it's also important that we cannot fund your action completely by EU budget. That means that there should be co-financing is needed for some of the activities. That can come from the member states, but that can also come from your own financial means. Also here, in the case of development, what we want is that the capability requirements should be harmonized and jointly agreed by at least 2 member states or Norway for what we call the design of the products that you are proposing. And there should be an intention to procure and commonly technical specifications issued for system prototyping activities. Funding rates. Here we make a big difference between funding research actions, research projects and development projects. So in research you can have in one proposal different activities. You can generate knowledge, so you can start with doing some basic yet applied defense-oriented research. You can integrate the knowledge from different sources and build up a more applied research. You can also go into studies and into design of the later products. And all of these activities can receive 100% of the EU funding by the Commission. When it comes to development, then there's a number of other activities which are also available. So the integrating knowledge is there, the studies and design are there, prototyping now comes in. You have also testing, qualification and certification activities, and then also activities which are there to increase the efficiency of your defense products and technologies across the whole life cycle. And there, as you can see, the basic funding rates go from 90% for studies, but down to 20% for prototypes. So if there is an activity which is including prototyping in your proposal, the normal standard baseline rate would be that the Commission, so the EU, only pays for 20% of that the cost for that particular activities. However, there are a number of bonuses possible, and I come back to that in the next slide, which can raise the EU maximum funding rate quite dramatically. So here you can go, for instance, if you have prototyping, but with a number of particular instances in your consortium, you can go from 20% to 55%. The reason for having all these different bonuses is that we want to promote co-financing and to make that more efficient when it comes to funding development actions. So here are the conditions for the bonus systems. For the bonus system, if your proposal is developed in the context of a project which is developed by member states as a permanent structured cooperation project, then 10% of all the activities, then there is an additional bonus of 10% of all the activities in the action. If you're including middle-sized capitalization companies, so mid-caps, then if their contribution in the total cost of your project is higher than 10%, you can also get 10% bonus, so 10% additional EU funding for that activity. SMEs, if SMEs are participating and also get more than 10% allocated of the total budget to the SMEs, then there comes also an additional increase in percentage of the EU funding that you can get, up to maximum 5% if it comes to SMEs which are located within the EU or Norway but are not cross-border. If it's cross-border, then there's a double bonus foreseen for such proposals. Okay, coming now more into the categories of actions.
So we have already mentioned and explained what are eligibility criteria and what is the size of consortia, and we have introduced also that we have 8 billion euros. But now let's focus more on the areas, what we are funding, and what are the topics we are funding. So for EDF, we have actually 17 categories of action. These categories are set for 7 years, but it doesn't mean that we actually have calls on for these categories every year. So we have 15 thematic categories and 2 horizontal categories. So the 2 horizontal ones are disruptive technologies and also innovative defense technologies, so the SME category. On thematic ones, basically, as you can see, we are supporting all the traditional military domains such as naval, air, land, but also space and also cyber. But also we have more innovative or non-traditional categories covered, such as cyber or materials and components. So I think there are all the needs, all the fields are covered under our categories. About EDF 22 work program. So we have for 22 924 million euros, which is a huge amount. Of course, it takes a lot to develop large-scale defense capabilities, but it's a really good starting point, and all of it is basically for industrial R&D projects. We have 8 calls for proposals, and we have 33 topics. As I mentioned before, call for proposal submission starts from 21st of June, so already next week. And deadline for submission is 24th November. So you have roughly 5 months to prepare the proposals. Among these 33 topics, you can find some topics targeting research and some targeting development actions. In the slide, you can see research topics are marked with blue color, and development ones are marked in green. But the difference, as Erno explained before, is basically what are specific conditions you have to follow, and also about the funding rates. To zoom in a bit to the cyber category, just wanted to show that even maybe cyber defense for defense R&D cooperation hasn't been it's relatively new, but we have already, even in EDF precursor. Sorry about that, but as there is already such an echo and a lot of sound, just want to ensure that you can actually listen and hear what I'm explaining. So we actually funded already several projects under the EDF precursor program, so Parc and EDIDP. We had quite decent funding also for research projects. So under preparatory action, we had 90 million euros for 3 years, and part targeted research actions. Altogether, we funded 18 projects. None of the projects addressed directly cyber defense, but in most of the projects, actually, cyber dimension was covered. Under the EDIDP, 2019-2020, so for 2 years, we had 500 million euros for co-financing, and altogether we awarded 44 projects, and among these 44 projects we had 6 projects which directly addressed cyber defense. So there is a list of projects mentioned, like starting from Bantora, Smotanet, Ekisap, and so on. Of course, there was also crucial part of cyber covered in other projects as well, such as cyber security or data integrity perspective. So command and control, of course. So even more projects actually have been supported, which are contributing to the cyber domain or strengthening the cyber angle. We haven't yet announced the EDF 21 results. We hope to announce it in mid of July, but there will be there will be some cyber projects supported under EDF as well, 21 calls, because we had 2 calls with 2 topics. So one targeting research and the other one targeting development actions. So we had 33.5 million euros just directly to the cyber category. Also, what we will announce in the mid of July are the results for disruptive calls. So first year ever, last year we had disruptive calls, and there 4 topics were basically available to submit your proposal. against disruptive technologies calls, altogether 70 million euros, and of course we had also open call there. About the EDF 22 cyber category. So I'm really satisfied that this year we have even double the budget what we had compared with last year. So we have 70 million euros for cyber category. We have one call for research. It's 10 million euros altogether, but several actions can be funded. The topic is adopting cyber situation awareness, which and basically the overall goal is to explore novel concepts and operational opportunities for providing to the commander essential intelligence about the adversary, their capabilities and objectives while operating in and through cyberspace. Under that topic, you have to cover study and design. So not only integrating knowledge and but also design part. Then we have one call for development actions. Under this development call, we have two topics. First of all, we have topic which is called Cyber and Information Warfare Toolbox. I hope you can still hear. So for this we have 33 million euros. Proposals have to also address prototyping, and the aim is the development of a European coherent library of software configurable components to easily integrate in cyber and information warfare systems. So this requires also capabilities in detection, analysis, fusion, threat targeting, and so on. And the second the topic is cybersecurity and systems for improved resilience. For this topic, we have 27 million euros, and this topic aim is to prepare, design, and/or demonstrate a cyber physical test lab with hardware and software tools supporting it. Here you don't need prototype, but it's strongly advised to do that. All call-specific and topic-specific requirements, what are the function requirements, what the topic on your proposal needs to contain, everything is basically written in the call text, and the call texts are available in DG DEFIS webpage and also tenders and funding and tenders portal. But these links we will also share with you later.
Okay, then I want to continue with putting some attention on what we are doing for disruptive technologies for defense under the European Defense Fund. Let me first start with telling you what we mean as a definition of disruptive technologies for defense. These are technologies of which the application can radically change the concepts and the conduct of defense affairs. So that means that it's not like disruptive innovation where you really bring together technologies which change the market completely. Here it is about having technologies which might be successful already in some other areas, civil applications, but which you bring into a defense context and could change the outcome of defense affairs quite dramatically in your advantage. So we have quite a large budget that we can, or that we should devote to disruptive technologies, funding disruptive technologies. So that's up to 8% of the total budget, so up to 600 million euro of the 8 billion euro should be devoted to funding disruptive technologies. And we do this in thematic calls, so we call up for specific disruptive solutions in under a certain thematic, or we can also say, no, you come up as applicants with a challenge, the defense challenge, for which you come up with a disruptive solution. Also here what we allow is that the consortia are smaller. I told you before that it should be at least 3 entities from 3 different member states or Norway. Here it is sufficient if you bring together 2 entities from 2 member states or Norway. In 2022, in the recently published work program, we have about 40 million research foreseen for research actions, so research projects with 2 thematic topics and 1 open topic with a dedicated budget. We want to fund several actions, and the size per action, budgetary-wise, is a maximum of 4 million euro. For the SMEs which are participating in these successful projects to be funded, we provide also business coaching possibilities. So this is the overview of what we have in the 2022 work program. So as I said, this is about research actions, research projects. We have 40 million euro in our envelope. The first topic, thematic topic, is about innovative technologies for adaptive camouflage. So we are looking for solutions where the camouflage for the protection of both soldiers, but also systems and platforms, land platforms, can be changed according to the changing environment. So it's an adaptive camouflage in different parts of the spectrum. So the infrared, the visible, but also the radar part of the spectrum could come with novel solutions here. So there we are dedicating 15 million euros. Then we have 50 million euros for improving the demonstration of electromagnetic artillery, where the objective is to basically advance the current technical state of affairs and improve critical components, including the gun itself, the pulsed power supply, but also the projectiles, the hypervelocity projectiles, to advance this into a medium caliber electric magnetic artillery system. So we're talking about the whole system, which we hope that will be available around 2028. There are already ongoing projects where you can look into what the outcomes are and build on that. Also here 50 million euros, and then the last 10 million euro would be reserved for calling for proposals where we don't have a predefined topic, but you come up with your own topic and your own solution.
As cross-border cooperation and cooperation between different sized entities across the Europe is a crucial cornerstone and value for the European Defense Fund and also for the Commission. Therefore, but it's not that easy. All the entities always, especially SMEs, so small and medium-sized enterprises, to find partners across the Europe. Therefore, there are also different organizations and different establishments and also events where you can find partners to your company, or where you can recruit kind of new partners to your consortium if you have a concrete topic you want to address. So we advise to contact with Enterprise Europe Network. So there is dedicated sector group on aeronautics, space and defense. Then there is also ENDR, so European Network of Defense-Related Regions, which supports through clusters, regional clusters, cooperation. And ENDR, together with the Commission, quite often also organizes dedicated events. I'm happy to announce that in mid of November, so from 17 and 18th of November 2022, we have dedicated event organized jointly by together by the Commission and Spanish cluster. And it's focusing on cybersecurity, dual use technologies and digital matters. So please, you're more than welcome to join to the event. Then of course we organize also defense, European Defense Fund Info Days, national and national Info Days. This year, EDF Info Day for 2022 called for proposals will take place on 30th of June and 1st of July. Registration is still open, so if you haven't yet registered, please do that. Event takes place on site in Brussels, but also virtually, so it allows different companies from different member states to join it and follow the event. Then, of course, we strongly encourage to participate in different exhibitions and matchmaking events. In the networking event, what we organize 1st of July, there is also B2B meetings possibility. And, of course, we have also set up or established national focal points network. So in every member state you have one contact point who should help you and introduce the EDF and help you also to find partners to cooperate with.
Okay, and let me then end, thank you, with some useful links, but I'll show you a QR code later on which gives you access to all this information. So we have general... Okay, there is general information available on how the EDF works. We have also information on the calls for proposal, which are also accessible on the EU funding and tender portal, which some of you already know from the civil research programs. There you can also find the reference documents which lay down all the rules of the game. As Getter said, we have also a national focal point network, so where there are representatives in each country which can help you to apply, because some of the procedures also involve governmental services which you need to have access to for certain documents. And then, of course, if you have further questions, please feel free to send us an email at the email address which you can find there. But anything you really wanted to know, please, there is a QR code which gives you access to the information. We also have a stand here until tomorrow in this hall, stand B137. And again, please, if you are willing to learn more, register for our Info Day and the networking event on 30th of June, 1st of July, which you can both participate live in Brussels or online. So we end here. I don't know if you have any further questions. If there are things you want more in depth, please come and see us at the stand. And otherwise, I wish you much luck if you want to apply for EDF funding. Thank you.